Hi, I'm Alex Eala. First is I don't know how to ride a bike. Second, I love watching. Super happy with the game, how I played. I think she was a tough opponent, and yeah, tough conditions out there, very hot. But I'm just very happy with the win. It's Alex Eala here. I just wanted to thank you all so much for the support. The atmosphere these past few days have been completely amazing.
California does not usually bend for newcomers, yet the welcome for Alex Eala felt earned, not gifted. Because when a crowd reacts like this before a single ball is struck, something bigger is moving. So what exactly did the desert see this week that the rankings don't show? Let's break down why this reception has the entire draw watching closely.
These tournaments are such great experiences for me, especially playing in front of the best crowd ever. And
Coco Gauff walked off center court in Dubai having just beaten Alex Eala 6-0, 6-2. She had dropped 2 games. It was the most dominant performance of the quarterfinal. And in her post-match interview, instead of talking about her own tennis, she turned to the crowd that had spent the entire match cheering against her and said this: "I know you were mostly supporting Alex, but I have to say, it is great to be on a crowded court. Whenever you guys were cheering for Alex, I was pretending that it was my name. And I think that it helped me a lot."
I know you were mostly supporting Alex, but I have to say it is great to be on a crowded court. I've played this tournament for many years, and to see the stadium full, it means a lot. And also, like to thank Alex for bringing a new demographic to the sport. I really appreciate it.
The world number 4, 2-time Grand Slam champion, American, pretending the cheers were for her. That moment tells you everything about what is coming at Indian Wells. On paper, the gap between Gauff and Eala is enormous. Ranking points, Grand Slam titles, years on tour. But something is happening at this tournament that ranking numbers do not capture. California has a Filipino community that has been waiting for exactly this moment. And when Alex Eala walks onto that court for the first time, the question is not whether the crowd will show up. The question is whether Gauff, Aryna Sabalenka, and every other seeded player in this draw is ready for what that crowd is going to feel like from the other side of the net. Sam Querrey asked Steve Johnson on the Nothing Major podcast whether Eala had become the biggest draw in women's tennis right now.
Is she the biggest draw in women's tennis right now in the world?
Yes. Dude, it's crazy.
Bigger than Sabalenka, bigger than Gauff. Johnson said yes without hesitating. John Eisner said the Filipino market had gone without a standard bearer for years, and now it had one. Querrey noted she had already appeared on the cover of Vogue, then added, if she wins a slam, it would be one of the biggest moments in the history of the sport. She has never won a WTA title. She is 20 years old, and 61% of Tennis Gazette readers, from over 400 votes, picked her to win this title outright. Not Sabalenka, not Rybakina, not Gauff, Eala. Indian Wells is not a tournament that gets surprised easily. The BNP Paribas Open has been running since 1976. It draws the entire top 10 of the WTA every year. The crowd at Tennis Paradise, as it is known, has seen everything. It has not seen what is about to walk through the gates on March 4th.
And now, she's made history in a major way. Not just for herself, but for her country and for the next generation watching.
She's coming from Philippines, which is now a big deal. She's been the biggest ever, tennis player from that country.
I'm really appreciative and super thankful.
When Alex Eala arrives at the Indian Wells Tennis Garden for her debut, she will not be arriving as a stranger. The Filipino diaspora that packed Melbourne Park's court, 6 until thousands were locked outside, that filled center court in Dubai for back-to-back rounds, does not stop at international borders. It travels. And Indian Wells, 96 players, a $9,415,725 prize pool, 11 days of tennis is the biggest stage Eala has ever walked onto as a seeded player. She is seeded 31st. The first time in her career, she has entered a WTA 1000 event with a seed. That seeding came directly from her Dubai run, where she climbed from world number 47 to a career high number 31, earning 215 ranking points in the process.
Filipina tennis ace Alex Eala has officially broken into the WTA top 40.
She's being told X, Y, and Z, and I don't think much get out of there. Well, the crowd are seeing the pictures on the big screen.
A perfect finish, really well constructed point again. Left Baptiste guessing which way the last ball was going, and it was out of her reach. Another winner, another fine strike.
It guarantees her a first-round bye into the second round. It means she cannot face another seeded player until the third round at the earliest. She arrives in California not needing a favor from anyone. No wild card, no late invitation, no tournament director doing her a courtesy. She earned this. That matters more than it sounds. 12 months ago, Eala was ranked 141st in the world. She entered the 2025 Miami Open on a wild card. What she did with that wild card became one of the most discussed runs in recent WTA history. In March 2025, at Hard Rock Stadium in Florida, Alex Eala did something that had never been done in the sport's history. She became the first wildcard to defeat 3 Grand Slam champions in straight sets at a single WTA event. She beat Jelena Ostapenko, the 2017 French Open champion, 7-6-2, 7-5 in the second round, rallying from 4-0 down in the first set. She beat Madison Keys, the reigning Australian Open champion at the time, 6-4, 6-2 in the third round. Then she beat Iga Swiatek, 5-time Grand Slam champion, former world number 1, 6-2, 7-5 in the quarterfinals, coming back from 4-2 down in the second set to close it out. She was ranked 141st. She lost in the semifinals to world number 4 Jessica Pegula in 3 sets, 7-6, 3, 5-7, 6-3. She earned 390 ranking points and $332,160, roughly 2/3 of her entire career earnings to that point in a single fortnight. She became the first player from the Philippines to reach a WTA 1000 semifinal, the first Filipina inside the top 100.
Alex Eala is set to compete in the singles and doubles events.
With energy like that, you don't get tired, so it was good.
And Alex, so good to have you out here for the first time. How special was that?
Having too much crowd on this or any other tennis tournament is a very good problem to have.
That Miami run is the reason Indian Wells is different this year. Eala is not an unknown quantity. She is the player who walked into a top 10 opponent's house and won 3 times. In the same tournament, the players in this draw who were there in Miami remember exactly what she did. Gauff was not at the 2025 Miami Open. She knows about it anyway, and she already has her own recent memory of what it feels like to share a court with Eala in front of that crowd. The world number 4 needed the noise from her opponent's supporters to stay focused in Dubai. That dynamic does not disappear when the tournament changes location. The Indian Wells women's draw has 96 players. Sabalenka is seeded 1, Swiatek 2, Rybakina, the Australian Open champion, 3, Gauff 4, Pegula 5. Every player who has beaten Eala, every player who might face her in the later rounds, is in this field. Spanish analysts noted before the draw was released that Sabalenka and Swiatek were arriving with limited competitive rhythm after their respective exits from the Middle East swing, and that players like Eala, well-rested, focused exclusively on singles, could represent a genuine danger as early as the third round. That was a tactical read, not fan commentary. Eala prepared for this tournament differently from every event she has played in 2026. In the first 6 weeks of the year, she competed in 6 tournaments while playing doubles alongside Iva Jovic in Auckland, Janice Tien in Abu Dhabi, and Ingrid Martins at the Australian Open. The fatigue showed in Dubai. She admitted afterward she needed time to recover. She took 2 weeks off, visited the Nike World Headquarters in Oregon, then arrived in California to train with Laura Siegemund and Solana Sierra before the main draw began. She is not defending any ranking points at Indian Wells. Every point she earns is new. The rivals watching this are not panicking about crowd numbers. They are looking at a 20-year-old who arrived at Miami 2025 ranked 141st and left having beaten the second-best player in the world. They are looking at a player who, despite the 6-0, 6-2 loss to Gauff in Dubai, still produced 2 of the most clinical wins of the early 2026 season before that quarterfinal, dismantling Jasmine Paolini 6-1, 7-6, 5.
Another wonderful win for Alexandra Eala. Thank you, Jasmine, she says. Paolini gracious as ever in defeat. The former champion is out. Alexandra Eala.
And Sorana Cirstea 7-5, 6-4 on the biggest court in the tournament. The scoreline against Goff was emphatic. The path to that match was not, when 61.2% of Tennis Gazette readers picked Eala to win the Indian Wells title outright. Ahead of Sabalenka, Rybakina, and Goff, it said something the seedings cannot. The other players in this draw read the same websites. They are aware of it, and that awareness, sitting quietly in the locker room alongside the actual tennis, is its own form of pressure. John Eisner said the Filipino market, 110 million people globally, had gone without a standard bearer for years. Sam Querrey said the news around Eala keeps getting bigger with every tournament she enters. Steve Johnson called her an absolute rock star on a podcast where all three hosts had spent their careers watching what genuine stardom looks like up close. None of them were talking about her serve, her ranking, or her title count. They were talking about something that ranking points cannot measure, and that every player in this draw is going to feel the moment they step onto the same court as her.
I do my best. I do what I can, and just if I see an opening, I think it's important that I go for it.
Indian Wells runs through March 15th. Miami follows on March 17th, where Eala is defending 390 points from her 2025 semifinal. The Sunshine Double, Indian Wells and Miami back-to-back, is the moment this 2026 season either accelerates or stalls. California is not just welcoming Alex Eala for the first time. It is the first real test of whether what happened in Melbourne and Dubai was the beginning of something, or whether the players who have been watching from the locker room are ready to stop it. Drop a comment below. Can Eala go further at Indian Wells than she did in Miami last year, or does Goff end it again before the final? Subscribe if you have not already. The draw is set, the crowd is coming, and the rivals who have been quietly watching this story build since January are about to find out if the California welcome changes anything.